It's a horrible feeling, that sudden moment when your stomach turns over with the thought that you're not going to make the corner, which sends you down the path of being overcautious or possibly falling into full-blown panic. This in too fast feeling is something that can be a stumbling block for many learning riders as they work to use more of the bike's potential and climb the track riding ranks. In this video, I wanted to go over the most common reasons behind this feeling to hopefully help you get to the bottom of what's creating this block for you, as well as offer you some practical advice to overcome it. So like I said, this issue has the potential to create some pretty intense feelings out there on track, and it has riders making all kinds of silly decisions and mistakes. The thing is, for most riders going through this experience, they'll very often get into the corner and then have the feeling that they're now going too slow. So clearly there are underlying problems causing this false perception. The first problem is how you use the brakes and having poor braking structure. As I've spoken about a few times now, there is a certain way in which we want to structure our braking effort on the approach to a corner. A common mistake among less experienced riders is to begin braking lightly, but as they get closer to the corner and realise they're going too fast, they ramp up the pressure on the brake lever the closer they get to their entry point. The feeling of going in too fast presents itself because they are in fact approaching the corner with too much speed for their current ability. This means they're operating more in a state of panic rather than in a confident and controlled way. This creates a number of issues and negatively affects their corner entry speed. In terms of fixing this issue, we need to turn this approach on its head by getting the bulk of the braking done earlier in the braking zone. By becoming confident with using hard brakes and getting the hard braking done early, you're putting yourself in a much better position to judge entry speed as you taper the brakes off on your approach to the corner. The next issue is that you struggle to lean the bike more. Lean angle barriers are something that the vast majority of learning riders will come up against on their quest for more speed around the track, and because of this, most of those same riders will be held back from higher corner entry speeds. They'll certainly have good intentions of running higher speeds into the corners and leaning the bike more, but when they come back around to that same corner again and attempt that higher entry speed, they'll be hit with the same feeling that they're going too fast because subconsciously their lean angle barrier is still there, so they slow down to a speed they know is safe. But while it's a tough nut to crack, a lean angle barrier is not uncrackable. In my personal riding experience, as well as now seeing many learning riders make the same breakthrough, my advice is to gain as much perspective as possible on just what your bike and tyre combination is capable of, then simply put yourself in a good position, both physically and mentally, to incrementally push your boundaries. And this is actually something we're going to have a video on in the coming weeks, so if this is a problem for you, you're not going to want to miss it. Up next is poor vision. This is a big one. If your vision isn't working correctly at corner approach and entry, you're very likely going to create bigger feelings of going into corners with too much speed than if they are working correctly. Not looking far enough ahead is a common culprit of bringing on the panic of too much speed because everything feels like it's happening at a faster pace and at very short notice, and your ability to properly judge corner entry space and speed is impaired. If you cannot correctly see and judge the space you really have to play with, you're always going to be limited on just what you can do with that space. The fix here, as you would expect, is to learn and apply the correct vision techniques so that you can better see the space you have, but also to give yourself more mental time to process what you see and judge the space you have to play with. And lastly, slow steering. Speed of steering is a big key to unlocking speed in many areas of the track. Some sections of track will almost entirely be limited on how fast you can change direction. If your steering rate is very slow and you don't feel like you can steer the bike any quicker, when you try to add more speed to the equation, the fear of going in too fast and running out of space is very much going to be there to hold you back from making that next step. To fix this issue, learning how you control the bike and then practicing getting comfortable with a faster speed of steering should be your first step here. Now, you won't need lightning quick steering actions in every cornering situation, but a faster speed of steering will benefit you in a lot of places, particularly in chicanes or places where two corners are very close together and go in different directions. The in too fast fear is only surface level. I hope that all of this is showing you that the feeling of going into corners too fast is only a surface level issue, and in most cases you should be able to link it to one or a number of the points we just covered. Also, in most cases this feeling will come from your perception of the space you have and how effectively you can use it. If you already feel that the space is limited based on what you see and your ability with the bike, adding more speed to that equation is always going to have those panic lights flashing because you don't believe you'll make it through the corner safely with more speed. In truth, all learning riders will be able to make improvements to these areas, and while you won't eradicate the in too fast feeling completely as you work to push your boundaries, it is making these improvements that's going to put you in greater control of the space you have and mean the feeling becomes less frequent and less severe, and from that point you can make better steps forward. Do you have any experience of going into a corner too quick that scared you or created issues? Tell us about it in the comments down below. And as always, if you like this video, then please hit the button and subscribe to the channel for more performance riding advice and guides moving forward. Take care.